Welcome, Abdul Mobeen Khan. So thank you very much for joining the summit now. Okay, so Abdul Mobeen brings over 20 years of experience in strategy execution, program delivery, portfolio management, and then establishing governance frameworks with a proven track record of implementing complex systems, driving business transformations, and enhancing performance management. He delivers impactful results for his clients. So Abdul Mubin is connecting from Riyadh, I believe, or Jeddah. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'm in Riyadh. Okay.
Yeah, so fantastic. So happy to hear you happy to have you in the summit. So please go ahead, Abdul Manim sir.
Yes, please. How do I share my screen?
Yeah, you have a share button in the bottom. If you are able to see the share content.
No, I cannot see the share content button.
You can see the bottom layer of buttons. Can you see?
Okay, I'm doing it now.
Yeah, you can just.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see your screen. Yeah.
Are you able to see my screen now?
I'm able to see your screen. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. Give a brief introduction about yourself.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you, gentlemen and lady. Hello. Good evening. Good afternoon. Wherever you are in any part of the globe. Thank you very much. I really am appreciative of Mr. Sheikh Abdul Qadir for providing the opportunity of engaging in this session and providing my insights into strategic management, especially the execution part of it. I'm based out of Riyadh. I work with Credo Technology Services. Since this deck has to be name agnostic, I have not put my organization's name, but you can see in the invite, I work with Credo Technology Services. We are based out of Dubai and Saudi. We have been in the region for more than 10 years now. And in Saudi, it's our second year in operation. We are positioned as the leaders in cybersecurity, and we are one of the prime partners of big league agents and partners, vendors globally. We have been in the region and we have very strategic reach to market. We have very intensive enterprise clients across. In Saudi Arabia, we carry forward our legacy, and we also have in the recent past, say last quarter, been able to create and come up with our capability around data and AI, with delivery assurance being our primary focus. We make sure that we deliver right and we engage ourselves with customer experience at every touch point across the value chain. And we also make sure that our internal processes are well defined so that they are not a bottleneck for us to go out and provide our services as market offerings. I'll just go through the initial, just 1 second. I have to mute my phone. Okay, to start with, basically, the intent of this engagement is to provide insights into strategy execution. Strategy, as we always know, and we see it's the most widely used and misused word. People intend talking about planning, but they say strategy because it's a fad. People take pride in talking about this word, and very little is known about this word in holistic perspective, if you are not into this uh, workspace of strategy. What is strategy? Is that when you have, it's very simple. If you have 3 doors to choose from, what is my way of moving forward? You choose a door and you close the other 2 doors, means that is your strategy. Strategy is nothing but choice. And it then is translated into strategic initiatives, into plans. You have plans to make sure that you meet that strategic intent of your organization, of your personal life, whatever engagements you are in. Having said so, I will just move on quickly through the slide deck. Okay.
We are seeing the first slide.
Yeah, I'm the first slide. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Now, in order to understand how PMO helps in strategy execution, I'll just replay very quickly a strategy playbook that we use with our clients. This playbook entails strategic planning, strategic formulation, and then execution. I will not delve into the formulation and planning part of it. I'll go directly to strategy execution. But before that, there has to be a little understanding of what exactly strategy is, how it holds an organization together, how it helps you to have that, we call that big hat vision. How do you make sure that you have some perspective, some goal to achieve, and how do you plan achieving that goal? How do you transcend? It all starts with strategic thinking. It could be board of directors, it could be shareholders, it could be a lone entrepreneur. It starts with strategic thinking. What exactly are we going to do? And then how we are going to plan around this strategic thinking. And once that is chalked out, either on a drawing board, on a canvas, or through different mediums, then you get consensus of everyone who has a major stake in that ask, and then you start executing it. And while executing, it's a different beast altogether. You might have excellent strategy chalked out, but if you don't know how to execute, if you don't know how to move forward, if you don't know how to go back and fine tweak your strategy, gone are the days when strategy used to be a 5 years plan. Now we know in India, we had when the British left, so India started 5 years planning, and we had so many 5 years planning, and that's what made India what is it today. But now at this age of disruption, 5-year planning is not anymore an option. Even organizations used to have 2 years strategic plan, 3 years strategic plan. Now organizations have to be nimble, have to be lean, so that they always have alternatives available, so they can always go back to plan B, plan C, and make sure that they reach the vision of their intent. So when we say strategic thinking, it's nothing but it's to think, how do you strategize, how do you manage your problems, how do you build plans. It starts with the SPAC. That is, you trust and you optimize and you plan for the process. You leverage your strategic team with suitable capabilities. You need to have the team capable of taking you where you want to be. You understand, you leverage your strategic team, you leverage around your vision, your mission, you have a goal, and then you strategize around that. And while doing so, you improve. It's not that you wait for strategy to be completed, then you start improving and fine tweaking. No, the day you start working on your strategy, you should have your radars open to find out, am I going right? Because you need to have very strong mapping with pestle analysis. How is market moving? How is competition moving? And what am I doing? What are my competitors doing? And then you prepare yourself and you execute. As I said, it's a very valuable tool, and it has been there for ages now. This is how you map your strategy against the external influences. You will have influences From a political perspective, there's globalization, labor costs, that's your economic perspective. You have frequent, currency conversions. If you are a global organization, then you need to understand social, technological, of course, legal and environmental perspectives in a different geography that you are working in. There's also a Porter's 5 competitive forces assessment that you need to do. It is the DNA of strategy. You need to understand what is your landscape, where are you working, what is the threat to, and if you want to enter into a new market, what are your barriers? Is it easy? Do you have tough barriers? What is the supplier power? What's your buyer power? Is there a threat of substitution down the line? Let's say there are so many incumbent AI players now. So the threat of substitution in that landscape is very tough. So you need to be wary that if I am going out with an offering, a very disruptive offering, how long can I sustain with that kind of offering? Once you have that analysis done, you have strategy analysis framework. Those are called 7S. You understand your market penetration, your projection. Then you see your structure. Do you have a structure? Are you aligned? Then your systems, internal systems are very, very important. That is the fabric around which your value stream is interwoven. Then are you skilled enough to undertake that opportunity? Are you skilled enough to undertake that engagement? Do you have the reliable staff? What style of leadership do you have? That again is important, because if your leadership is ingrained with the strategy, with the strategic intent, and you have leadership commitment across value chain, then it becomes quite credible that you get support from leadership, and leadership commitment is there that you move forward, and you can always go back and fine tweak your strategy. And then your shared values. How are your values? How do you translate your values to your employees, to your partners, to your suppliers, and also to your customers? Then you come at the very critical part of strategy, which is defining your vision. So we say vision has to, we call it BHAG. It has to be big, hairy, audacious direction. Vision, by and large, is never tied to a timeline. I want to be a best pharmaceutical company in this region. Then your mission is, how are you going to do that? What do you do that? And mission is always tied up with timelines. Then you have your core values that define your vision and mission. Now you need to understand what are your key organizational priorities. What are your goals based on priority? They could be increase in revenues. They could be becoming a leader in that space. They could be enhancing internal communications. So, and these are always timeline bound, because these are the goals that will help you to reach that vision of yours. When you start chalking your intent, when you start identifying which door I need to go through, then it's very, very important as an organization. Also, when we talk with clients, also when we have a customer interface, it's very important to understand the as is. Where are you today? What do you want to do to achieve your goal? And we say as is to be, there's a gap. And we call that as, in strategic parlance, we call that as performance gap. So that performance gap has to be narrowed, has to be taken care of, so that your as is changes to be. And that is very important. That's where your planning, your execution comes in from a PMO perspective. Now, we are at the heart of our discussion, strategic execution. Now, strategic execution is fundamental to an organization's growth, to an organization's realizing its dreams, because it is where the rubber meets the road. It's where you translate your intangibles into tangibles. It's where you engage with the people perspective from different landscapes. It's where you engage with your own community, with your ecosystem, with your customers, partners, and execution is very important because you need to understand while I'm executing the strategy, you need to have that barometer or a radar on to know that I'm not doing it in silo. I'm in the meantime also looking at competition, what competition is doing, what kind of disruption is there from technology, from political or legal paradigms. So you need to understand that while you are executing the strategy. Now, there's 5-step framework for effective strategy execution, and these are different. It's not a thumb rule that you have these steps. This usually a good practice. Different strategy schools of thoughts have different frameworks for effective strategy execution. So you start with your strategy interpretation. It's simple. When you have to plan for something, you first need to understand, you need to articulate the intent of that. What exactly, how do I translate that to my stakeholders who are helping me to execute this plan? And then once everyone is in sync, everyone gives a buy-in, there might be certain roadblocks, but you iron them while you're moving forward. Then you initiate your strategy execution that will help you to define actionable items. Actionable item is a task, is an activity that is temporary. It has a start and end date. That's where your PMO practice comes into play. And then you implement and transition. While transitioning, you are also taking care of a very important parameter inside an organization, which is called change management. There's always a resistance to new ideas. It's human nature, to new ideas, to new solutions. So you have to make sure that you have a very strong change management in place, and you have started that exercise before you articulate strategy to your team members, to your partners. It's very important. Only then you will be able to transition. I'll give you an analogy. If you're deploying a complex or a simple project, and if you do not take into consideration the operations team who is going to manage it, where you are going to transition your piece of work, you will hit a roadblock. Probably you might have chances of project getting cancelled. So it's very, very imperative that it's only when you have a sound PMO who makes sure that all the stakeholders are in sync right from the day you kickstart your project and you say, guys, we have all the stakeholders, operations team, what does it take for us to hand it over to you over a period of time? My project timeline is say 2 years. What does it take? Then the operations teams would say, I don't have capability. I can't take it in. I don't have competence. Okay, what do? You either train, upskill your staff, or you outsource that piece of work. And then the transition becomes a bit smooth. And then you have to manage the performance. We say a PMO helps into benefits realization across every engagement. There are benefits that might be realized while you're in the project phase, execution phase, initiation phase, and there are larger benefits that are realized in the operational phase. So you also need to understand it's not done that you have handed over the project. Yes, the project manager's job is over, but the PMO still stands its fort because it has to make sure the benefits are realized in the operational phase. Now, as we said, the strategy execution is in sync with a good practice PMO in an organization. There are I will show you certain data points where you do not have a PMO taking care of strategy. Usually organizations also have a strategy management office. We call that SMO, and they help and they leverage the capability of PMO making sure that the execution is done right. You start with strategy articulation, then you translate strategy into your pieces of work. Then while doing so, the most important thing is organizational alignment. How does PMO help you in organization alignment? PMO from a PPM perspective, project portfolio and program perspective, helps you to align the strategy with the organizational objectives, the objectives that were driven while that were announced while we were doing vision and mission exercise. And because portfolio is the layer where you have all these strategic initiatives being managed, because the accountability of portfolio is to make sure that every engagement meets the business objectives. That's where PMO comes into place. So if you have a good PPM, a framework, adaptive, it has to be fit for purpose for each organization. There's no cookie cutter solution. Each organization intent is different, demand is different. So you need to have a very agile portfolio management team that understands the translation of the execution and aligning it with the organizational objectives. Alignment has to be there across the strategic layer, the tactical layer, and the operational layer. And you also need to have operational alignment, which is you cascade you cascade the plans, you cascade the asks right from strategic layer to the operational layer. And while that is being done, then you aggregate the data points, you aggregate the measurement from operations to technical and to the strategic level to make sure that the measurements are clear. And this is all being done by a tool called balanced scorecard. We will reach there. And once you are executing, you have to make sure that you have execution is very agile. You can review, you improve, and you adapt. You always come back and say, there might be instances where you're in a kind of business like you're into drug release, you're into aerospace. There it's quite difficult. You have waterfall kind of methodologies where it's very difficult. That's why planning there takes a lot of time. It's very difficult to come back and tweak your strategy or improve and adapt. But overall, you have to make sure that you have to have that sense of adaptability, going back to the drawing board and addressing that disruption. And that is only possible if you have strong leadership and strong culture. That's only possible because you need to have leadership commitment across all this framework. What are the building blocks of successful strategy? And this comes from PMO. You need to have very clear decision rights. You need to have very clear information. You need to have sound motivators. You need to know what is in it for me, what is in it for the organization, how is it aligned, ensuring incentives are there, and ensuring that the change management structure is there. But decision rights and information are more critical than other enablers. You have to make sure that you have decision rights. You have to make sure roles and responsibilities, decision authorities is clearly articulated. You cannot have ad hoc decisions. Every day you come and you say, okay, let's not have, I don't want coffee, let's have ginger tea or something else. Like that probably helps in a personal mood. But when it comes to organization, intent has to be very clear. It has to be chalked down. You should have roles and responsibilities defined, proper JDs defined, and then the authority of decision making becomes easy. And while we are doing this, it's very difficult to make sense of what we are doing if you don't have a way of measurement, if you don't have way of metrics. The time-tested tool to manage, execute strategy is the balanced scorecard approach. Like balanced scorecard approach, this was invented by Harvard professors Norton and Kaplan. And this is the only tool that has stood the test of time. When you execute your strategy, you do that using a strategy map for each line of business. And you have 4 important perspectives of strategy map. Financial, how am I doing on the financials? And customer, what is my customer engagement, customer experience? How are my business processes, that's your internal processes? What is my landscape of learning and growth? Do I have that capability? Do I have that capacity? Because when you know that I have to have this amount of growth, 10% growth, 10x growth over a period of time, and that will translate only when you have very strong internal processes, when you have capability, when you have competence, only then you can have that customer experience that can guarantee you the value. It's always, there are always, cyclical loops in all of these 4 perspectives. They are always interrelated. They always impact each other. So you have to be very careful when you do strategy. Execution has to be done right. And here again, PMO comes in to drive this balanced scorecard measurement, because each line of business has KPIs, quarterly KPIs. It could be monthly, it could be yearly, depending upon the engagement. And then you see the health of your strategy execution, and then you can have your other plans articulated based on your balanced scorecard measurement. And here PMO acts as a strategic partner. PMO is the only window to align strategy with the organization objectives. PMO helps you to track the performance, to manage this balanced scorecard measurement. It helps in stakeholder communication, lateral, top down, bottom up. And it also makes sure it runs a PDCA cycle to make sure continuous improvement is there. In the absence of good risk management, everything will fall between the cracks. So it's always good PMO, fit for purpose PMO, that makes sure that the risk landscape is articulated well, is understood well, and you have a very strong risk management capability and all the processes and artifacts around that. Now, role of PMO in organizational strategy is more alignment, because you have to align your strategy through portfolio, through program, and then through projects. Like organizations undertake strategy to embrace change. I want to change. If I continue doing what I was doing yesterday, no change can be guaranteed. I have to see what is my as is, what is my to be, and I have to embrace that change. In order to embrace that change, I also have to make sure that I am aligned with my strategic objectives while I'm undertaking that change. So that change comes through portfolio management, wherein portfolio ensures that you are always aligned with organization objectives. Then it translates to program management, wherein you realize your benefits. It could be ad hoc benefits, long-term benefits, midterm benefits. And then it again translates to your project management layer, which is nothing but outcomes, deliverable based. And then it finally translates to your day-to-day operations. So it's always alignment, and alignment. So the alignment ensures that value delivery is guaranteed. If you don't have strategic alignment, there can be no value delivery. And the value delivery stands on stakeholder engagement and process optimization. This is a very tough triangle that organizations really face challenges to adhere to, because if you don't have process optimization, you can never have stakeholder engagement. You always will have discord, you always will have disruption. It could be subtle, it could be pronounced, it could be you would not know until you hit a risk or a roadblock. You make sure that your processes are optimized, everyone has a buy-in for the process, then you have proper stakeholder engagement which derives value, and then you will have strategic alignment. Now, how PMO integrates with business strategy? It reviews the current business objectives and strategies, aligns with organizational intent, mandate, plans, executes, monitors, evaluates, and refines. Like, it's no brainer. Everyone knows what exactly this is. Now, key components of strategic alignment is that you need to know strategy. Strategy has to be articulated right from the CEO up to the last employee who's in the hierarchy. Everyone should know what is the organization strategy. What does it translate into? What is in it for me? What is my responsibility to ensure that this is met? Am I accountable or am I responsible? How do I make sure that I have seamless communication across to make sure that the strategic objectives are met? And PMO's role is to ensure that it always aligns with objectives, make sure that you have the right team, you have the roles and responsibilities. And again, it ensures governance. Governance is to do the right things at the right time in the right manner. Our communication is very important. That's what we say. Project program managers, whosoever is in the PPM landscape, they communicate 90% of the time. That would be, they would communicate probably emails, discussions, any other threads, or it could be reporting, status reporting meetings, communicating with partners. You need to make sure that you have the right resources in place and the right governance. You have clear oversight in place. And this oversight is very important, that it has to be fit for purpose. If I have a small project, I will not waste time in having a formal weekly status meeting with the client. Even on strategy, if this line of business is very small and my KPIs are very few, I don't waste time, I don't waste resources to have a formal meeting. I would rather send an email. But if it's quite complex, I have to prioritize to see how my governance works across different perspectives in the organization. Now, there could be challenges in PMO. You don't have the right resources allocated. That is a very big challenge. Stakeholder engagement is missing. It's always missing because of lack of good leadership. If you don't have that intent, if you don't have that strategic intent coming from top down, you will always have stakeholder misengagements, and you will have alignment issues, and you cannot enforce the right kind of change management. When we do this balanced scorecard and when you do other PPM retrospectives, it could be either product retrospective, process retrospective. We make sure that we have regular surveys, we have the goal setting, we track issues and risks, we have feedback loops. There's no thumb rule. You probably might have 2 of these. It's not that you are mandated to do everything. It depends upon how large your intent is, how big is your canvas, what kind of communication and feedback mechanisms you will have, and how do you ensure continuous process. Now, again, you have to identify change, organizational change management. OCM is one of the fundamental pillars of an organization. If you are changing your direction, if you're changing your strategic intent, you need to make sure that everyone is on board and everyone knows what is in it for me. How do I translate my efforts for the organization's good, and how do I embrace that change? It's very important, and there we need to have a very robust PMO who can help in adoption of this train across the organization. Now, PMO architectures differ. You might have different frameworks that you work on. You make sure that you standardize on one of the frameworks. You cannot be it all. You have to have a unique framework. standardize, make sure you have the right resources, make sure performance tracking is there. That's how stakeholder engagement is measured. PMO is the efficacy, the success of PMO is only possible through performance tracking. It is quite difficult because there could not be any tangibles as you have in sales. But yes, there are matrices, there are measurements, good practice measurements, wherein you can see PMO's efficacy, PMO's uh, contribution to the organization. Now, why is it important to have an architecture? Alignment. If you don't have the architecture, you cannot have alignment. You do proper resource management, or in every engagement, PMO should know who is working on what from a capability and competence matrix, ensures knowledge sharing is there, and risk mitigation, stakeholder engagement. Now, there could be several PMO models available. You have on-demand PMO, which is you have a new engagement, a new project, and you create a small PMO. You call it capsule PMO just for that entity. And once that is done, this is disbanded. They go back to their workplaces. You have a full service PMO, large organizations, transnational organizations. They have EPMOs. They have many PMOs. Each department is a PMO. You probably would have a consultative PMO wherein you're not doing that kind of rigor in your business. You need somebody to come and do an advisory. That's called consultative PMO. But the good practice PMO is hybrid PMO, wherein you have the best picks from each of the frameworks. Like you have usually there are two major frameworks: waterfall, which is plan driven, and agile. So you need to know what part of my engagement can be taken care of by waterfall, and what part can be taken care of effectively by agile. So every now if you see large initiatives being driven, being rolled out, they're all based on hybrid PMO. There's a very good case study on a projects and company about Burj Khalifa. It shows how hybrid methodology, PMO methodology, was utilized. People would say, okay, construction, how do you do agile? You cannot go back. No, there are ways that you can. It's not about the sprint being wrong. In retrospective, you fix and you go back, write the code again. No, that is not only agility. Agility is a very vast canvas. If you read that case study, you will know, yes, also in construction engagements, you will have agile components in project management. Okay, these are best practices. Now, very important, very, very important. The PMO should always report to CEO, as it is as good as the information security. It's as good as CDO. All these have to report to CEO because of the strategic intent. They might have lateral reporting to other C levels, but they have to have clear structure reporting to the CEO. And there could be different landscapes of PMO, director PMO, portfolio manager. It's all unique to each organization. There's no thumb rule about what kind of structure you will need to have. But very important, yes, the PMO, the director of PMO should report to CEO. And how do you implement PMO? It's like any other project, but you have to make sure that you articulate the strategy first. If you articulate the strategy, you'll be able to cross all these hops. You will be able to design your strategy, execute. You should be able to feedback and optimize. It's all about articulating the strategy. It should not be complex, and you have to make it as granular as possible so that everyone in the organization, across top down, bottom up, understands the intent, why this strategy is in place, and then you will have a smooth journey. Now, PMO, how they are assessed. We have a PMO, we have rolled out a PMO, there has to be an assessment. There are many assessment frameworks available. You have, if you see the bottom sentence, it has OPM3, P3M3, PMM, but the most widely recognized PMO assessment framework is AI PMO, a maturity model, and we are uh, uh, almost a working partner with the AI PMO in terms of assessment, and we as Credo, and we will be leveraging their capability in terms of maturity assessments. And their maturity assessment is unlike other maturity assessments. They come from strong academic rigor. It's based on academic research for many, many years. And they are cut above the rest when it comes to PMO maturity assessment. Now, what are the future trends of PMO? In strategy, execution, you have AI-driven PMOs, where it's all based on data-driven. You will have AI, ML, predictive analysis. So these are very nimble, short-lived PMOs. Then you will have agile PMOs, which we know at the onset of Scrum, when Scrum was born, we're always hearing about agile PMOs. Like we at Credo, we have the capability of AI-driven PMOs and agile PMOs. Like we have the capability, we have the competence to come and help you to create this entire engagement around AI-driven PMOs and agile PMOs. We are not yet in the innovation hub space. We have an innovation, we have a sister company that is completely into innovation, AI innovation around data and other aspects of data. And we are graduating to that level of PMO very soon. Maybe in a couple of quarters, we will have that kind of offering also in terms of innovation hub PMO. Now, our offerings as an organization are we provide consultancy into PPM, that's project portfolio management, right across portfolio, ensuring that we help you to align your strategic objectives, strategic initiatives with your strategy. We understand demand management. We help you understand how demand management is taken care of, how to prioritize your demand coming from your clients or from your business, and how to make sure that that's translated into programs and projects. Then PMO as a service is an offering. I'll talk about it in a short while, that we have we have built over the last quarter, and now we are ready to provide PMO as a service to organizations. Enterprise architecture as a service, it's a very critical and very strategic offering that we have. All organizations, technical organizations, especially because we are in the field of IT, and Enterprise Architecture Board is one of the critical functions in mature organizations. You will find Enterprise Architectures Board calling shots when it comes to change management. Anything that goes out to production has to have the Enterprise Architecture Board blessing. They need to know this service, this product, either it's enhancement or it's a new service, new product. How does it impact the overall architecture? And there are many facets to that. So we also are ready with Enterprise Architecture as a service. It goes hand in glove with PMO as a service, wherein we have a cutting edge of providing these two services together, making sure that there is no dysfunction between enterprise architecture and PMO, which always is the case inside large organizations. Then we have an offering called PDPL as service. It's the PDPL is it's a government, it's Saudi government mandate. It's data privacy that this last year, 2024 September, was the date set by government to make sure that every organization, small, medium, big, has to have this PDPL compliance and has to certify with SADAYA, who is the government body here, to make sure that they are compliant with PDPL. We provide this offering also. And NDMO as a service, National Data Management Office in Saudi, Now it has a mandate. The data has not come. It's a bigger mandate. It's a massive mandate, and we have partnership with very strategic global players, and we will be soon announcing our NDMO as a service, which will be a real differentiator to our go-to-market strategy. And from an AI and data perspective, our offerings are digital strategy, innovation, transformation, wherein we understand your problem statement, we create a use case, make sure that we are aligned with the problem statement, and we deliver value. Then digital governance, risk and compliance, we have that governance oversight, overall our IT, in overall our AI and data initiatives. Then we have AI-led operations, automation first approach. This clearly syncs with our QI Lab initiative, which is one of our sister companies, and that's in progress, and we'll be announcing that again very soon. Now, PMO as a service, this is a broader, a very holistic view of what we are offering. This is a framework. I can't show the entire framework here, but this is just a bird's eye view of our go-to-market strategy. How do we help? What are functions of our PMO? What is our way forward? How do we understand your current landscape? We come and do discovery and mapping of your existing processes. We understand how your strategy was formulated, how it was planned, and how are the initiatives rolled out, who is the owner, and what are the timelines. Then we define the target maturity model, we define the operating model, and we design and rationalize that model, and then we deploy the PMO, we plot, seek acceptance from each stakeholder, and then we transform and execute, and it evolves over a period of time. And we make sure that we have strong, seamless engagement, internal and external, with executive management, lines of business, regulatory compliance, portfolio team, technology work stream, third-party vendors. So this encompasses the entire stakeholder landscape. Once we start the initiative of assessment, PMO assessment, or the landscape assessment, this could also not be limited to PMO. We also do technology assessment, because we are a very niche and strong player in the cybersecurity, information security landscape. We also do assessments from the security perspective, from data perspective, AI strategy perspective, with data strategy, AI strategy, cybersecurity strategy, all strategies combined together. We make sure that we glue all of those together and then create our framework to enable the strategy execution, to enable value realization over a period of time. Now, PMO's role in data strategy. Now, it's very important to understand what is the role, different roles of PMO. I have taken 3 important lines of business, because that's what we are have strong competence in, just to articulate our strength and our offering. PMO's role in data strategy. PMO aligns data initiatives with business strategy. So what is the challenge? Data projects often fail because they are not aligned with organization's goals. What is an example? I have made sure that wherever it's possible, I have not used the name of the companies, name of our customers, because of data privacy. You see any other places, there will be names of the companies, but they are publicly, that data is publicly available. So a retail company's PMO aligns its data strategy with its goal, and by prioritizing a customer analytics projects, the customer retention was increased by 15%. Now, establishing governance across for data management, that's very, very important. A financial services firm PMO implemented a data governance framework that reduced data errors by 30% and ensured compliance with GDPR regulations. Now, you could say, okay, we hear every now and then there are incumbents, AI incumbents, there are new solutions, new offerings, but they always fail because if you don't understand your data strategy, if you don't understand where your data is coming from, if you don't have data classification, if you don't have data prioritization, if you don't have data accountabilities across the organization, if you don't know why this data is created, if you don't know the essence and value of the data, no AI initiative will hold good. No AI initiative will be able to translate business benefits. So this is very, very important that our capability from data, when we say NDMO as a service that talks about the entire data landscape. NDMO, National Data Management Office by Saudi, it is built on the framework, DAMA framework. You know, DAMA is a global data framework, and we have enough capability in that perspective to go and help organizations understand their data and make sure that the data is rightly available for any AI initiative, and that's also done by our PMO as a service offering. Now, real world examples, if you see how important is data, you know, we can see Netflix PMO played a key role in leveraging data analytics. By analyzing viewer data, Netflix optimized its content strategy. Netflix is a leader because of its content, right? And the content is nothing but data. So Netflix has a very, very strong PMO initiative, and that's the DNA of Netflix. Make sure that the data is streamed in the adequate manner, the right data, the source of the data. We can also see examples of Walmart supply chain optimization, how PMO helps in strategy execution, how PMO makes sure that there could be, you don't have growth objectives always. There can be a strategic objective of reducing risks, strategic objective of minimizing waste. So PMO here helped Walmart to reduce out of stock incidents by 16%. You also have P&G data transformation example. Now, if we go to AI, PMO's role in AI, we again have to align with the business strategy. The challenge is that projects fail because they are not aligned. If they are not aligned with your data strategy, your every AI initiative is going to have problems. It's going to fail. So you make sure that this example you can see by prioritizing a customer churn prediction model, which was based on ML, that the company increased retention rates by 10%. It was a retail company. It was all because they went back to the drawing board with the help of their PMO to understand what their data strategy is and how that AI initiative can help them leverage the strength of that data strategy. Managing AI project life cycles is very, very complex. Now, AI projects cannot be handled like the day of the mill type of project management initiatives or project management frameworks. It requires a strong value stream capability, strong value stream discipline, both in PMO and in PPM, and the project has to have a value stream methodology. Only then you can have these complex AI life cycle turned out very quickly, and you'll be able to reduce diagnostic times by 30% in the case of this healthcare provider. Now, driving AI innovation, experimentation, because it's all about innovation. It's all about your new ways of working. It's all about churning out new services, new products. So you need to make sure that you optimize your AI offering. You can only optimize it by strong rigor, by strong execution, and reducing delivery times. In this case of example, it was a logistics company, and it reduced fuel costs by 10%. Now, real-world examples, again, Netflix's AI-driven content recommendation. You can see it's all based on ML, the kind of user profile behavior you have. You can also see that in Google. Amazon's AI-powered supply chain is a good example, and Google's AI healthcare. Now, it is very important to know it's not only AI, it's not only data. it's any kind of engagement inside the organization that needs a strong PMO, to make sure that the strategy execution is taken care of. It's not only the execution initiatives, the strategic initiatives, because the strategic initiative will not be realized if your downstream projects and programs are not realized in time. So it's always cascading and aggregating, top down and bottom up. So let's take an example of, because we are in the cybersecurity landscape, taking example of an identity and access management initiative or a work stream. Identity management projects are very, very complex, and they require specialized expertise in the areas like authentication, authorization, and directory services. For example, a technology company, it's a very famous company, I could not name it. PMO managed the implementation of SSO, which we call a single sign-on, improving user experience, reducing password-related support by 40%. It was by proper due diligence in terms of understanding the entire landscape, understanding the benefits that have to be realized, understanding the rationale of why this engagement was onboarded. Then driving innovation in identity management. Again, we know cyber threats are always evolving. They require organizations always to innovate and adapt their identity management strategies. So by effective PMO engagement, the identity fraud incidents were reduced by 50%, right, by 50%. And you can also see there are different challenges. You also make sure that you have thousands of identities. You need to make sure that there's a very strong reporting and monitoring mechanism. That cannot happen in the absence of a PMO. Now we have partner. It's only God who can exist alone. We humans always need support in terms of family, friends, relatives, again. And in the business landscape, again, you cannot have everything. You cannot do everything on your own. Again, this comes from strategy. You partner, you outsource, you acquire, depending upon the needs of the business. So we have partnered with strategists and data labs. Strategists is a very strong strategy formulation, strategy planning organization is based out of Romania. They are one of the best, and they use the Kaplan Norton the strategy management framework. And I had the opportunity of getting with them, and it was a very, very tough engagement. It was around 12 weeks of engagement, very tough. And I went through, and I also got, last week I got the certification. Data Labs is our to-be partner. They have a very strong tool when it comes to balanced scorecard, because balanced scorecard measurement is very tricky. If you do it manually, you end up with lots of biases, you end up with lots of inaccuracies, discrepancies. You need to have a tool. A good balanced scorecard is only possible, the measurements are only possible to be realistic, to be transparent, if you have a good tool. And we have a tool, a very nimble tool, very, very optimized tool, which can be optimized, which can be tailored, fit for purpose, and make sure that we are in that space. We formulate, help plan the strategy along with the PMO. We have that balanced scorecard tool. Then when it comes to PMO offering, so if there's a maturity assessment to be done, enterprise wide scale, we have the methodologies from AI PMO. And if you want to learn, get into the PMO landscape to hone your capability, that AI PMO is the right place to go and learn. And then when we go out, PMO as an offering, it cannot be done without a very meaningful and a very robust tool. So Siloxis is there. I have, in my last engagement in one of the wealth management firms in Riyadh, and along with the strategy team there, we tested and evaluated around maybe more than 10 different tools. When we even talk about Gartner's, Gartner's PPM tool, and we also evaluated PlanView, Asana, but Siloxys stood the test of time. It is very simple, it's very intuitive, and it is a part of our PMO as an offering. And when it comes to data and AI, we make sure we have a data strategy professionals. They are, if you want to get on to understanding and learn data, they are the players. They're one of the best. I would say they are the best in terms of getting you up. And that's from an individual perspective. But if you want to have that enterprise-wide advisory on data, we have another partner called Modelware, which I have not shown yet. We have not, we have initiated conversations with Modelware, but still we don't have an NDA in place, so that's why it's not here. And QI Lab is our sister company. It's more focused on innovation, more focused on churning out products based on data and AI, and we leverage them when it comes to innovation, when it comes to any new technological advancement from an AI and data perspective. And Decoding Data Science is our training partner. We have recently had an NDA with them. They are one of the they have one of the largest ecosystems in the Middle East, especially in Dubai, and they have got wonderful programs available. And we do have an agreement with them, and moving forward, we'll have a stronger agreement, go-to-market offering with them down the line. Now, as we said, we talked about PMO, we talked about execution, we talked about different facets, but very, very important is ethical considerations in PMO engagement. You need to have transparency, you need to have right stakeholder engagement and integrity. These are the values that we at Credo hold very strong to ourselves. We make sure that we are transparent when it comes to customer engagements. You will not see us everywhere because we believe in integrity. We have very niche customers. We are very strongly entrenched wherever we are. We have repeat customers because of the transparency way of working, because of strong stakeholder engagement. We value every stakeholder, be it our employee, be it a customer, partner, supplier, and we also make sure that we have that integrity ingrained into our offerings. So we make sure that we go extra mile and help our clients to reach their, to realize their objectives, and thereby we also realize our objectives. If you go to our website, you will see Credo, our punchline is securing growth. We cannot secure growth in isolation. I can't grow if I don't let my customer grow. And my customer can only grow if I have seamless customer experience. If I am transparent, I build that sense of integrity over a period of time. I know what a stakeholder means. I know how do I take care of the alignment, and only then I can grow. My customer grows, organization grows, employee grows, everyone grows, and we secure growth for organization, for the economy at large, wherever in which geography we are. We make sure that these values are very close to our heart. And that sums up. I had to rush out quickly because there was a lot to say because of paucity of time. I wanted to make sure that the message is relayed to you, and from our capability perspective, who we are, you are welcome to come up with your inquiries, with your queries, and we're always welcome to help you address your pain points, address your problem statements across different verticals that I spoke about, and we will engage the right kind of resources and make sure that we secure growth, your growth and our growth. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you, Abdul Mobeen Saab. Thank you very much. Very insightful lecture. And then I think it's very well orchestrated right from the beginning. And
Thank you.
happy to see all your services portfolio. So fantastic. I think it's a long session. You made it very easy. And the way you integrated strategy management and project management portfolio PMO is fantastic. Okay, so that's really a solution for many organizations
Thank you.
if they want to engage into the transformations. Okay, so I think if you have any questions, let us take it up because it's already okay. Then I would like to ask you, in case maybe you can stop screen share in case if you would like to
Okay.
see it or something.
Yeah.
Now, make it just if you want to just quickly share your thoughts in summary for the larger organizations and for mid-size organizations in the region. Okay. So what is your advice? What they should do to adopt those best practices? Many of them, they are not still on that stage to adopt the best practices. Quite a few are there, and some are, they don't know still. So what is your advice to adopt the best practices of strategy, best practices of PMO, and then how to make the business success through this?
It all, there's no right and wrong answer to this. It depends upon the kind of environment the organization is in, the kind of landscape where they're operating, and it depends upon mid-size. If it's an entrepreneur organization, you will have challenges. If it's mid-sized, are they willing to embrace change? It's all about change management. There are organizations that are very, very about taking on new initiatives because they are in the comfort zone. So it's always the responsibility of the advisors, consultants. I would say advisors, not consultants. Consultants will build them. Right advisors who provide as a part of CSR initiative to the organizations to understand their pain points. Every organization has pain point. There would be definitely ways to elicit that kind of information. It's about how you ask the right question. You ask the right question. You understand the business. This makes me recall a very funny incident. There was a shepherd. He was sitting under a tree. He was playing on his flute. He had flocks of sheep, lots of sheep. And then a big SUV came and halted near him. Out came a guy dressed in three-piece suit and with his laptop. He told the shepherd, if I tell you exactly how many sheep do you have, will you give me one? The shepherd said, yes, why not? Then this guy started working on some GPS calculations and whatever. And then he said, you have these number of sheep. The shepherd was very impressed. He said, oh, it's good. Yes, I have exactly this number of sheep. Now, pick up any one of my sheep. So this guy picked up one and he was approaching his car. The shepherd called him back. Gentlemen, if I tell you what your job is, will you return my sheep? He said, yes. He said, you are a management consultant. He said, how do you know? He said, first, you came uninvited. And second, you do not know anything about my business because what you took is my dog, not my sheep. Right? Yeah. So it's very important that you should be capable of asking the right question. You have to do a bit of homework in terms of understanding the landscape of the organization, understand their positioning and understanding their competition. Only then you can engage, in a meaningful discussion. And you need to have strong human, connect. It's always how strong your human connects are, how quickly you make people believe you, trust you. It takes a while. And this is simple human management recipe. Only then you can be able to be a good advisor. And then probably that might translate into consulting. Who knows?
Correct. I think it's a wonderful example. It's a wonderful metaphor. Thank you. Thank you, Abdul Mobeen Saab. Thank you very much. And any final thoughts on the technology front? I like the Porter's five forces. Okay, so that analysis you said that with the new technology, with Gen AI and all, so you keep getting new competitors and the new offering.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very important in this kind of disruption. You need to know what are your entry barriers to the new marketplace. Who all are there. If there are very strong players, I would rather not waste my time. I would rather co-opt than go into competition. I'll go and join a big player instead of wasting time and wasting my resources going on headlong collision. In today's time, the only value you can drive is through a very good, strong ecosystem where everyone comes and co-ops, everyone makes, realizes value, a piece of it. So you can have a piece of cake. You can have so many cakes. If you want to have a whole of the cake, you probably might have it. Then you will not see the second cake.
Yeah. So collaboration is the way forward. I think with the complex
it is very
business
important.
environment,
It is very important.
collaborate on our strengths, and then you work as an ecosystem. That's fantastic advice. Okay, so with that, we would like to conclude the day. Abdul Mobeen Saab, thank you very much with wonderful lecture, and it's very insightful presentation. So on behalf of participants and organizers, I would like to thank you. And for your short notice, you made the wonderful presentation. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.